Hello everybody, my name is dylong and welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are on Power Pros, or MLB Power Pros, excuse me, for the Wii. I don't know why, I've been very much into the Wii lately, so that's what we're doing, and I figured if I'm enjoying it, why not use it as a background video? And today, we have episode 2 of How I Found Love. In today's segment, we're going to talk about our first kiss and our worst date ever. So let's get right into it. So after the first date with Kay, she had my full undivided attention. I would talk to her as much as I could, and I knew that I wanted to see her again. Oh God, voice crack. It was tough because at the time, she was just finishing out college and she started shadowing teacher jobs, so there was really no way to see her during the week due to how busy she was, which was understandable. However, the following Monday, she did invite me out again for the next weekend, or the next Saturday, and I was super excited. She asked if I wanted to go with her, Carly, and Cole. And the whole thing was a little confusing, but I was focused on Kay, so I really didn't care. The only thing I found strange was Ray, who was just with us the past weekend at the bar and the mini golf course, had stated to me that him and Kay and Carly weren't friends for a while, but they were slowly reconnecting and that he was getting really close with Carly. So my indication was that him and Carly were kind of a thing. So you'd understand my confusion when Carly was going out with this Cole guy. But again, that's their story, not mine. But it'll all make sense later on. So Saturday finally rolls around after what seems like forever, and the night was planned out pretty well. We were going to go down to the beach, get dinner, get some drinks, go hang out on the beach, then go to a bar. And at least this time around, I didn't have to drive because I kind of wanted to drink a little more, but this drive would have been a whole lot worse had I done the drinking and driving rodeo again. It was about an hour drive from the beach to my house, so Cole was the designated driver for the night, even though he drank too, but it's fine, it's fine. Cole picked up Carly and Kay and then came and got me, and I realized I recognized this guy. I had played baseball against him in this league that I'm in. His dad owns a team. It was a small world. And one more thing, I live in a pretty nice place. I'm lucky, but I'm not rich. Okay, I just want to put that out there. But apparently after picking me up and seeing my house, Kay thought that I was some rich stuck-up snob, which isn't really part of the story. I just thought that was kind of funny, but I promise I'm the complete opposite. Anyways, back to the story. I was unbelievably nervous because I knew after the last date I wanted to keep seeing this girl, so I couldn't mess this up. The car ride was long and very awkward, and I won't lie to you, very little conversation was had, and it was a lot of just random little check-ins like, hey, you okay? You're not saying much, and looking out a window at oncoming cars. It was very uncomfortable. At one point she held my hand, but this was different. I was way more nervous, way more sweaty, and eventually let it go because I could feel my hand getting more hot and more sweaty, and the more I thought about it, the worse I felt. I don't know if she actually caught on to why I kept letting go, but if she didn't, now she and you know. After what felt like forever, we finally get to this restaurant, which is a Mexican food spot on the second story of like this little plaza in downtown. We get out and we're walking and the conversation's going a little better. We get in, we sit down, and this became the most bizarre dinner I've ever been a part of. Not because of the people I was with, but the waitress. It started out normal. She took our order. We had a small convo with us and then brought us drinks, chips, and salsa. And Kay then said something that made me certain she was the one. She gets salsa and says, you have anything hotter than this? And if you know me, I love spicy things, so she just became my dream woman instantly. That's all it took. But the salsa was pretty fire, by the way. No pun intended, it was actually really, really good. After about 25 minutes, our food finally comes and we all start eating. And then about 4 bites in, we all realize something. Cole didn't get his dinner. We asked if he wanted us to wait and he said, nah, it's fine. So we kept looking around for our waitress and she's nowhere to be found. After about another 20 minutes, she comes back looking very upset. Not that we were concerned, we kind of just wanted our food. But before we could even say anything, she goes on this 5-minute rant about how another table yelled at her for getting their orders wrong and how she was overwhelmed and her boss was giving her a hard time. And the conversation wrapped up with, anyways, can I get you anything else or can I just get you the check? And Cole awkwardly just states, can I please get my dinner? And I wanted to start laughing so bad, but this waitress looked like she was about to cry. She said how sorry she was and that she'll get right on it. About another 15 minutes goes by and the food finally comes, even though I'm pretty sure the order was wrong, but Cole was just happy to get something. We get the check and I'm pretty sure I paid for it. I can't fully remember, but after the embarrassing can't pay to get into a mini golf course fiasco, I had to show him that I indeed got it like that. I had a drink there, something light, but I was feeling pretty good. And Carly mentions that there's a Taco Bell cantina near here, meaning it's a Taco Bell that serves liquor. So we mosey on down the road into this cantina. It was a pretty cool experience. I get to tell people that I was ID checked at a Taco Bell, and I love their Baja Blast, but I won't really lie to you when I say it gets kind of ruined if you add vodka or tequila to it, but that's just me. I was around 250 pounds at that time, so I knew what a good drink was. And snack, and food, and dessert, and pretty much everything edible. Oh, man. So we get our drinks and we head to the beach, and the beach was amazing. We get on the sand. It's raining a little bit, but not too much to where we have to get an umbrella. We're sipping a Baja Blast, music's playing, and I have my arm around Kay, and we're just listening to the ocean sounds, talking about anything and everything, as Carly and Cole, who were pretty much doing the same thing, but it led me to believe that Ray was delusional and pretty much out of the equation. After a while, Carly suggested we hit some bars, which to be honest, I really didn't want to. I kind of wanted to just stay out on the beach, But I went along and we go to the first bar. Security's checking at the door. Cole gets in, Carly gets in, I get in, and Kay gets stopped at the door. They wouldn't let her in because she had many liquor bottles in her purse. We went around back and figured we'd just down them real quick and go back in, but embarrassed to try again, so we just went to a different bar. In the car on the way there to the second place, though, she said I should chug these little tiny bottles of vodka. So I said sure, and chugged it, and tried so hard not to gag. Pause. But we did it. When we got to the next bar, it was cool, vibes were cool, dance floor was filled, but the music kind of sucked, so the girls wanted to leave, but it was sick because there was a crowd of people and there was just one dude in the middle of the crowd just hitting the nastiest dance combos and people were cheering. It was awesome. Not that I'd ever do that, but it was cool to see. So we get to a third bar. I have 2 more drinks and they decide this isn't the vibe either. So we take off once again. Fourth and final bar we hit was pretty cool. Good music, places to dance, more good drinks. I have about 2 more on the dance floor, just having a good time. At this point, in this month, this is the most I've ever danced in probably my life. She then says she wants to take a break and go sit down as she was getting a headache. And we go sit, she puts her head on me, and a security guard comes up and says, stay awake, no sleeping in the bar. Which I found really odd because neither of us were asleep. She just had her head on me, but for sure, dude. Now keep in mind, this is only my second time meeting this girl, and this is where things take an unexpected turn. Kay says she wants to go back on the dance floor, and I wasn't really feeling it yet, so I told her to go ahead and I'd meet her there. She went to go, and Carly walked by me and said, Kay really wants me to kiss her. I was excited, confused, nervous all in one. Why did Carly tell me this and not Kay? And then Cole came and sat down, and he was like, Kay is so into you, dude. I could tell. I've known her for a while, which I now know is a complete lie and that he'd only known her for a few months, but I didn't know that at the time. But a very odd thing to lie about. But Carly comes back and sits down and says, just go for it. So I get up and I walk over to Kay. I awkwardly ask her, do you want to kiss? Weird to ask, I know. I could have just gone for like a movie romantic, grab her face and kiss her, but this is the real life 2023 and consent is very much a thing here. She blushes and says yes, but that she's never kissed anyone, which I found alarming considering we're both almost middle 20s, and I then later found out that she's never had a boyfriend. 4 people freak out. No, it's not because there's something wrong with her. She's some walking red flag, although that's what my parents thought when I told them. But it was simply because from a young age she knew she wanted to be a school teacher, and she pretty much dedicated her whole life to it, perfecting her skills and schooling to make sure she got what she dreamed of. And I think that's pretty awesome. At the time, though, I just simply thought that was bullshit. Anyways, I leaned in and we kissed. For a first timer, she wasn't bad at all. She asked if it was okay, and I said yes. I'm pretty sure at that point I'd blacked out from happiness or liquor and hadn't come down yet. It was like in Looney Tunes when you get hit in the head and you start seeing stars. I was seeing that, but out of pure joy. Carly and Cole were happy, and at the point we were getting ready to head out. Unfortunately, the clocks changed that night, so when it hit 2 a.m., it actually hit 3 a.m., so the daylight savings, and God robbed me of more time with the girl of my dreams. Carly went to the bathroom, and here's where I messed up. I got another drink before we left, and I'm kind of in my own world with Kay. And then I became in my own world by myself for a brief moment, and I'm playing this game, put it up on the screen, where you fling this hoop attached to a string, and you try to get it on the hook. And while I'm playing, and Kate's standing next to me watching me play, this dude apparently starts flirting with Kate and asking her questions and making her really uncomfortable. And I just flat out didn't catch it. I was just flicking this hoop, trying to get it on the hook. I was lost in my own little bubble. She makes sure to remind me to this day every once in a while that I did that to her. So if you're seeing this, I'm sorry. I love you. But after the bar, we got in the car and we went home. Kay was asleep on my shoulder and I was drunk on whiskey and happiness and whatever else I put in my body that night. I get dropped off about 3:30 and I go inside, once again drunk off my ass, and text Kate goodnight and I go right to bed. Luckily this time I didn't have baseball, so I was really planning on sleeping in until I'd go help my homie Jorge out, which lives like an hour away from me. I forget what I had to do, but I just remember I was really hungover. But I do remember that evening I had a birthday party for my cousin and family who I rarely see. At most maybe 1 or 2 times, like every 3 to 4 years or so. But the hungover was cured with a huge bowl of mac and cheese, nothing more, nothing less, just a big old bowl of mac. I even told my family about Kay, which in hindsight was probably way too early, but I was really excited and maybe I saw this going somewhere. What could have gone wrong? That right there, this moment right here, when the first downfall hits. It's our very first solo date. And I have to mention this, our very first solo sober date. And what a clusterfuck that was. This was the turning point because after this date, I honestly never thought I would see her again. I think we have enough time, so let's talk about it. She wanted to see me during the week, a school night, a work night, so I knew she really wanted to see me. We both love horror movies, me mainly, but she opted to see Scream 6. She liked the Scream movies. I had never seen one. But what did this date mean? This solo date meant I had to meet her parents. I haven't met a family of a girl in almost 6 years at this point, so I was scared out of my mind. Was the dad going to threaten my life if I hurt his little girl? Would her mom fire off rapid questions to intimidate me? These were questions that were racing through my mind all day at work. I get home about 5, I get ready. I took my sweet time getting there, thinking of everything I was going to say and do. I stopped and I even bought flowers, and I finally get to her house, and as I'm shaking, walking up to the door, her dad opens the door, and the first thing he says to me, "Are those flowers for me?" And we laughed, and immediately I felt pretty comfortable off the jump. I met her mom, and she just asked me very softball questions about myself, nothing too crazy, and gave Kate flowers and walked her to my car and opened the door for her, and off we went. Things were going great. We were talking a lot, listening to music on the way there. Then we finally got to the theater, and we actually had some time to kill, so we sat in the car, holding hands and just talking about the day she had, how her career's going and stuff like that. Then it was time to go into the theater. And we held hands again, we watched the movie, and we ate some popcorn. The movie was pretty good, but I was mainly just focusing on her. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how the hell did this all fall apart? We're getting there. So the movie ends, we get in the car, and as we're driving home, I asked her, we met on Hinge, but I never really got the chance to ask, what are you looking to find? Out of me or just in general? And she said, but if you ask her now, she will never admit this, but I have a photographic memory of this moment because it still haunts me to this day. She said, I really like you, and I'm waiting to see where things go with you when you're ready. And this set off endless possibilities in my head when she said this, and you could probably say that anything in that moment would have worked, and there was a glitch in the software, I hit the wrong combination, and I said the one thing that I probably should not have said. Immediately, like 10 seconds after she said this statement, I said, well, I'm ready now. Will you be my girlfriend? I'm gonna take a moment of silence to let that marinate. I know you're cringing as hard as I am recounting this, so I'm gonna give you guys a minute, okay? Cool. All right, everyone, pick yourself up off the floor from laughing at me and let's continue. She calmly said, I'll have to say no to that right now. We just met, and you just met my parents, and I want to see what they think and how things turned out. Really, all she had to say was, we just barely met. She's absolutely right. We did just barely meet, so why the hell did I think it was okay to say that? In retrospect, when she said that statement, I thought it was the green light, but apparently that light had turned yellow and then red. That butterfly that was in my stomach just shriveled and died. It was like my world went dark. How did I manage to mess up things with one single sentence? We got to her house. She said, I'd kiss you, but my house has a ring cam, and my parents didn't really know what we were yet, so didn't want to upset them or confuse them, or I don't really know what the situation with that was. So we said goodnight, and all the way home, and all the way up the stairs, all the way into my bed, all throughout the night, in the shower the next morning, all the way to the work, and all day, and for the next few days, I replayed this embarrassing moment over and over and over again, just wishing Doctor Strange would open a portal and let me go to a different timeline and try again. But this was just not happening. What happened after that? The least amount of talking since we met, the driest conversations, and my heart was completely shattered. And what I'm about to tell you next, in the next episode, is even worse. But I'll save that for next time. I appreciate y'all sticking with me and listening, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I cringed recounting this tale. I love y'all to death, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.